Today I wanted to show you some of the new features that are coming out in Visual Grasp version 4.7. That version will be released by January of 2018. It might be coming out a bit earlier, but that's the timeline right now. And there's a couple of exciting new features. Two of them appear here. I just want to show you on the management reports section. We added two new reports, sales by detail and GL account balances. We preface it with BI, which stands for Business Intelligence. That's a bit of an overused term these days, but basically it's kind of a direction we're going with some of the reporting in our program. I'm going to start with this top one, sales by detail, and it's basically designed to give you a perspective of the sales that have gone through your order entry system, and more so we can give some fairly detailed statistics on item categories or item codes or sales by customers or geographical locations, a whole variety of areas. So these business intelligent reports kind of have two sides to them. The first side is you decide what your criteria is for the data, and you can see that here in this area. So you're choosing a date range, a customer range, item ranges down here. A little bit further on you can select a sales rep, and then you can define the sales rep as being either the customer's default rep or the sales rep from the sales order itself. And below that you can also filter out certain provinces, states, or countries, and again you can decide whether you're going to use the customer's address or the ship-to address on the order. Once you've decided what your data set filters are going to be, you retrieve the data with this button here that says Get Data. Now just notice I clicked on that. It took about a second to retrieve these items for 17 years of history. This is a bit smaller set of data, but still there's quite a bit in there. There's about 4,000 records. I just want to divert a little bit and talk about SQL. We've been trying to push for the last year so that you consider moving up to the SQL version of Wish. And just to demonstrate some of the advantages you'll get if you're on SQL, if I turn off SQL, that same data retrieval that basically took about a second in SQL, just so I've clicked that button, and just watch how my timer takes a little bit of time here. I'm running this directly on the server, so it's actually way faster than it would normally be in a networked environment. But you can see the difference between 1 second for SQL and it looks like it's going to take, well, it's about 25 seconds there. So that time differential will be magnified in a normal environment where you're running across the network as well. So just once again, we really want to push the fact that you should consider a move to SQL in all of our products, including Visual Grasp. Anyway, once you've got the data retrieved, then you can decide over here what you want to print on. So you notice we have a value to report, and that can be sales value, cost of sales, profit, or the profit margin. We'll pick the sales value today. And then you can alternatively say, for example, you might want to print by item category, and then you can choose also in some cases you can choose a column as well. Very simply, there's a variety of templates. We're going to deliver 7 templates with the rollout of version 4.7 this January. But at any point, you can also utilize this new button and add any new report templates you want. So report templates basically are the look and feel of the report. So we're going to give you a couple of crosstab reports. We're going to give you a couple of charts, including a line chart, a pie chart, and a bar graph chart, and also just a flat file for exportation, so you can export all of this out to something else like Excel. But to show you what a crosstab report is, which is a series of rows and columns, notice, for example, that I want to print this by item category and by date. So I'm going to pick my crosstab by date, and when I click OK here, you'll see what that looks like. Once again, the crosstab is simply a series of rows and columns. Okay, so here's that report, and it's just popped up here now. I'm going to pull the preview up so you see here's my item categories and my dates at the top. So you can see the way the crosstab will work. If I wanted to do the same thing but do it by sales rep, I simply change this flag, and when I come back and I print that report again, I get the same information, but now the rows are by sales rep instead of by item category. So it gives you an idea how the crosstab would work. Similarly, I can go into something, and if I want to see that in a pie chart representation for that 17-year period by sales rep, you will see that that's how this would look. So the whole idea behind this move to BI or business intelligence is to be able to define a given set of data and then report on it in a variety of different formats, charts or crosstabs, like you see here. So that is that's what the business intelligence is. This is just an example of the line chart, if you will. Now, this was the sales by detail. I'm just going to really quickly, I'm going to show you the second report that we've added here, which is actually based on your GL, so your trial balance and chart of accounts, if you will. So notice you're picking a range of account codes, a range of departments, and you can also pick a range of years. So about 8 or 9 years ago, when we released Visual Grasp 4.0, we introduced the concept of perpetual years, and that's what these are. So in this case, I'm asking for my for a 5-year period between year 3, which happens to be in this example here, ending in 2013, and going up to year 8. So anyway, once you decide that filter, again, the first step is you retrieve the data set, and very quick in SQL. Once you've got the data in here, then you can print, and we've delivered 3 templates with this so far. We may add a 4th one, but basically there's a crosstab report, there's a 3D bar graph, and a line chart that we're delivering. In addition to that, you can add as many templates as you like to this. You can get into the meat of it and design your own reports. Once you have a choice in here, you can decide what you want to print. So if you want to print the balance at the end of each quarter, and you just want to, you see up here, I'm if these are ticked, it would be all my asset, liabilities, equities, revenues, expenses. If I'm really just interested in what my revenues look like for that time period, I can print that out here, and you get an idea what that would look like. So this is the end of quarter balances for the last 3 years. I actually had excluded the last quarter, so let me add that back in. Also notice I can print actuals, budget, or both. In this case, I'll stick with actuals, and a variety of choices, as you can see down here. And now if I were to print that now, you see the same concept. Here's the same line graph, but now showing me for each of the years. If I'm curious to see how my expenses worked out in the same time period, I can add that to the graph simply by ticking that checkbox. And now the expenses are shown in blue. And if I want to see how that's affected my assets in the same time period, I could just go through and print the same thing. So you can kind of get a concept of how you can add in or subtract out bits and pieces of your history, and a variety of different ways to do it. As I was saying, you can also go into there's bar charts you could use, or a crosstab. Remember the crosstab that we did before. Anyway, these are really exciting reports that are coming out, and we'll probably add more reports as time goes on. But these are the initial 2 in the new phase of business intelligence reporting that we're adding to Visual Grasp. One last thing before I go, not really to do with business intelligence, but another exciting addition I wanted to show you is if you're running Visual Grasp and you do multi-currency with version 4.7, we're introducing split rates for each currency. So you actually have 2 rates now. One is for when you're selling or affecting your AR, for example, you can have a different rate than when you actually have to buy goods in a foreign currency. So you can see here how we put two currency rates in here to show you. Anyway, these are all great new functions that are coming out in Visual Grasp 4.7, and that'll be out in January of 2018. If you have any questions about that or want to talk to us more about moving up to the SQL version, which again we're highly recommending, just feel free to get in touch with us here at our office. Thanks very much.